All right, I want to just take a few minutes and talk about what this college, does anybody actually know what my college is about? Raise your hand if you actually really could tell me. Yeah, see, hardly anyone. So we're going to take a couple minutes. It's not really a plug, it's informational, right? Okay, so to do that, it's really interesting that right when Gerald ended, he didn't steal my thunder, he opened up the door. So I want to take just a minute and go over this. Can I get somebody from out here just to really loud, just yell, read the stuff that's highlighted for me, real loud. It's not up yet. It's coming up though. They told me not to look up there, so I'm not looking up there. All right, somebody read it real loud for me.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
Keep going, keep going.
You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Now the reason I wanted her to go through that again is because I'm going to give you a chance. Do you feel protected in here?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
You feel protected. Okay, this is a safe place?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
No, you guys must be after lunch blues. Is this a safe place?
Yes.
Okay, so because it's a safe place, over the next 25 minutes of my remarks, and by the way, if you feel like I'm going really fast and rushing it, you need to tell Chris to give me more time. Okay? For the next 25 minutes, I expect you to be alive. What does that mean? To be present. That means when you hear something you like, what should you do? Yell it, shout it out, clap, jump up and down, blow me kisses, whatever. That's what we do here because it's a safe place. And do you want to go home the way that you came here? Okay, then don't be what you came here with. Be something else. Be the better self. Feel other people around you. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm going to be talking about some dynamite stuff here. I want to see some reaction. All right? My feelings are going to be hurt if I don't see some reaction. All right. Next 25 minutes of this convention, this is a Monticello College classroom. All right? Does everybody get that? Yeah. Tell me you want to learn. I want to learn. Okay, perfect. When I say college, you get a very specific thing in your head because of experiences that you had. When I say college or university, you have a very specific perception of what that means because of your experiences. And I would bet that when I say college, the idea that's in your head is not the same one that's in mine. And because of that, I want to take a little bit of time and walk us through a little bit of history so we can see why that is. A little brief explanation. You know, sometimes people in this convention, in the last day or so, a day and a half, a few people have indicated the idea that going to college might not be your best option for financial security. Yes or no? Yes. I'm a college president. And I couldn't agree with that more. I 100% agree with that. In fact, I'm telling you, if you want a good job, the last place you want to go to is an American college or university that you understand. The kind that we've been exposed to our entire lives. Because that's not what they're there to do. They have a different mission. So let's go through this. There are two kinds. In the last 400 years of what we call America, the country of America, United States of America, there have been two kinds of education during that 400-year period. The first period was 1607 to 1940s. That's a 350-year period. And the second was from 1940s to the present. Now, how many of you have ever been involved in phase one of education in America? Phase one is 1607 to 1940s. Not too many of you, right? And because of that, most of us don't have any idea what happened in that first 350 years. That first 350 years was a very different educational system than we have today. It was designed to build new world leaders. New world meaning America. How many leaders were there in America at the time that the colonists got here. Outside of the Native Americans, not too many. So we had to create an educational system to build those. How many of those people came here with a job and a pension plan? The colonists. None of them. So we call them what? Entrepreneurs. Okay? And how many of them came here were already trained statesmen? A few, actually, because they led people here. That's what the first system, 350 years, was designed to do, was to train New World leaders, entrepreneurs, and statesmen. And then we shifted, 1940s to present, last 75 years, was designed to build employees and a conformity-minded population. Very different plans, yes or no?
Yes.
But the fact remains that the first one was designed to do the kind of thing we're talking about here. With the network, the Conscious Creator Mentoring Network, lots of great things from that. We're going to talk about that more as we go along. So let me, anybody familiar with Josiah Bunting? Josiah Bunting was the superintendent of VMI, great educator, and he said, the things our country requires are simply not the things our colleges are prepared to deliver. What does that mean to you? Is that a happy idea or a sad idea? What we're going to cover here in the next little bit is all on a PDF on my website. It's called The State of American Education. Go to the website. There's the website right there. And you can pull it off and you can read that. It's 35 pages, give you more about American history, the history of education in America than you can imagine. Let's see. There we go. Man is not a farmer or a professor or an engineer, but he is all. Man is priest and scholar and statesman and producer and soldier. In the divided or social state, these functions are parceled out to individuals, each of whom aim to do his stint in the joint work, whilst the other performs his. The state of society is one in which the members have suffered amputation from the trunk and strut about so many walking monsters, a good finger, a neck, a stomach, an elbow, but never a man. Now this was written by Emerson right between the transition of phase 1 of education. The dates were what? 16 to 1940s. So transitioning from the end of that period into the second period is when Emerson wrote this. It was in the 1800s. Somebody tell me what this quote means. What does he mean by that quote?
Compartmentalization, specialization.
Is good or bad?
According to Emerson, it's bad.
Yeah, what he says is, when it comes to training human beings, when you ask somebody on the airplane, what do you do? They'll say, I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, I'm a plumber. So when people ask me that, I say, I'm a father. Yeah, but what do you do? Oh, I raise animals, and I do real estate, and I take my wife on dates. No, what do you do? See, our whole identity is about our occupation. That's the problem with compartmentalization of education. And what Emerson is saying is, you are not one thing, you are many things combined. And if you think of yourself that way, you will approach the world very differently than if you think of yourself as one thing. Yes or no? Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. Okay, awesome. All right. In March 1997, Peter Drucker stated that 30 years from now, the big university campuses will be relics. It is as large a change as when we got the first printed books. If you believe that an institution that has survived for a millennia cannot disappear in just a few decades, just ask yourself what has happened to the family farm. The way we understand what we grew up with college is gone. It just doesn't know it yet. Lots of issues: economics, cost of tuition, technology, lots of things have changed it. And I say good riddance. Because in the last 75 years, I'm sure that's just a precursor to other feelings you're going to have. So be sure to, okay? Who gets more out of the clapping, me or you? You do. I'm already engaged. Okay? I'm married, but you know what I mean. Okay. All right. Click. There we go. So that's the way we have it. Let's go back to what the founders had for the first 350 years. A liberal arts institution can be defined as a college or university employing a curriculum aimed at imparting broad general knowledge and developing general intellectual capacities in contrast to a profession, vocational, or technical curriculum. Now, I'm not going to go through these. If you want these slides, contact me. I'll get them to you. But basically what this is saying is when you do a liberal arts education, you are training all of the graduates to have skills like the ability to think, speak, and write. Do you know what the number one criteria that employers are asking for now, today? Please have your college graduates with the ability to write. Please. I beg of you. Go ahead and do a little study and you'll see it's epidemic. The ability to take initiative, the ability to understand human nature and lead accordingly, and so on and so forth. Can you name me an occupation or employment that doesn't desire to have this skill set? Name me one. You can't. But they all want it. The only place you can get it is in liberal arts. Yeah. Okay, liberal arts curriculum. Basically, what a liberal arts curriculum is, it's 3,500 years of the best of Western world. It's engaging in what we call the Great Conversation. The Great Conversation is a list of writings from Pythagoras to today, all talking about the same question. Anybody know what that question is? Say that again. What is truth? Thank you. Can you imagine your child sitting down with 3,500 years of people talking about the issue of what is truth? Could they gain something from that? Absolutely. Liberal arts is designed to develop human beings for humanity's sake, not to fulfill the whims of the market or for the purposes of, that's spelled wrong, purposes of the state. It's to bring men and women and families, create them who are financially free and politically free. Families who can provide legacy to the world. We're talking about bringing the CCMN to the world. Is that not legacy or what? Yeah. That's legacy. And I'm glad that only 10% actually appreciate that. Okay. This is less than half of the list of the readings for my freshman class. They read, discuss, and write in depth about these books and documents. Less than half, I couldn't get it all on here. First year only. Now, I want to just walk you through real quick. This campus is remote. It's remote on purpose. We require solitude of our students. The number one thing my students tell me that they enjoy about the campus is that they get to go out at sunrise every day for an hour. Now, you can pay a lot of money to have somebody tell you that, or you could just listen to my students, right, and go do it. It's really remote. Academics are rigorous, 40 hours or more of study each week. A lot of our classes are held outside. You have not had a class until you've had a discussion going on with 4 or 5 people, and then the turkeys come by. It's really exciting. Our mentors are not there for the money. Our mentors are there because they have passion and desire to bring up a new generation of founding fathers. We have wilderness training. We train our kids because we are in such a remote location. They get some really great training in terms of wilderness survival. By the time they get done, if they choose to, they take a test at the end after 4 years, and they spend a week out in the woods with a knife and a piece of plastic. And most of them come back. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We grow our own food there, so the kids, part of their curriculum is chores. Why? Because not only do we want them, do you have any idea the confidence you have when you know where your food comes from and you can grow it? Does that add to their ability to deal with business issues in the world down the road 3 decades later? How about the ability to survive in the wilderness for days on end? Does that give you confidence that you can take on, 100 calls a day? Yes, it does. The Grounded, it's an awesome program. Sorry, this thing cannot keep up with my clickiness here. Okay. It's a remote location. It's remote on purpose. If you go back and look at the environment that the founders were brought up in and the leaders of our nation, very remote. There's some real benefits to that. That's what we bring to this program. And I think that's about it. Right there. All right. What do you think about that? Now, as we get into the rest of the presentation, yes? I want to see people standing up. I want you to take something away with you. You don't take... How many are here from Utah? From Utah. No offense, I love you all, but that's the problem. I go to California, I get a different thing going on. I go to New Mexico, well, I'm not sure if they're all with me because I think there's some peyote going on and something, but Utah, we're very, very demure. I'm telling you, is this a safe place? Yes. So get it on, okay? All right. My life has been transformed by mentors. Transformed from an angry and violent young man in a broken home to a happy husband, content father, and founder and president of my own college. The most impactful personal mentors of my life are Cleon Skousen, William Doty, Oliver DeMille, and my lovely wife, Julia. Truth be told, Julia saved me 30 years ago. I was on a different path, and she saved me. In the last 18 months, Chris Crone has been added to my top 5 mentors in business and leadership. I didn't know him before that. The latest addition to my ensemble of mentors has been master trainer Eric Warrior. Here's here for Eric. Anybody know Eric? What I'm going to give you today is a version of his message that he gave 22 years ago as a rising star in the world of network marketing. Ancestors set this nation in motion by means of a revolution, an event that literally changed the course of history. It was led by a group of unsatisfied people who were tired of being told what they could do and when they could do it. People who were fed up with their lack of choices and diminishing personal freedoms. People who are fed up with their lives being controlled by others. People tired of being oppressed and manipulated. They finally said, enough, I've had it, and I'm not going to live like this anymore. Our ancestors were people who took full responsibility for what happened to them. It was that spirit that ignited a country and shaped this nation as a giant in the free world. But where is that spirit today? It's time for another revolution. Men were born to be free. That is our natural state. Revolutions occur when the course of society so violates our natural state of freedom that people would rather suffer pain, discomfort, and even death than remain freedomless. We are entering such a time again. To maintain freedom, we must obey natural laws. One of those natural laws is the law of use. The law of use simply states, whatever you don't use, you lose. Lack of use results in decay, loss, and atrophy. Ambition unused declines. Neglected faith shrinks and wastes away. If you don't use your skills, you lose them. If you don't exercise your freedom, it's taken from you. Freedom doesn't come automatically. It's not earned and then handed down as an inheritance. Freedom must be won and reacquired each day, each year, and each generation. At the turn of the century, and in the year 1900, less than 10% of Americans worked for other people or for the government. Over 90% of us were land and business owners. We were an independent people. By 2015, just over 100 years later, over 90% of us are indentured to employers or to the government. Less than 10% of Americans are financially free or politically independent. We changed from an independent people to a dependent people. We slowly shifted from a people who took full responsibility for everything that happened to them to a people who have become talented and practiced in the art of blaming others for their problems. Our American giant has fallen asleep. Our forefathers didn't ask, who's going to take care of me? They openly declared their right to be free, their right to raise and care for their family as they saw fit, their right and responsibility to earn a living by whatever means made sense to them. Today, American society elects officials who promise to take care of us. Society cries out against anyone who dares to ask workers to provide more value in the workplace. Most of America does everything possible to spread the blame and point fingers. Yet very few of us are willing to step up and be part of the solution. We slowly changed from a society that rewarded and compensated based on quality work and added value to a society that issues handouts based on special interests, entitlement, and an ever-increasing welfare mentality. We act as if someone actually owes us a living. Part of this change is due to the dramatic rise of conformity in our society. We were all taught to conform. Incredible pressures were and are put on us every day to do the things the right way, the normal way, with fewer and fewer people asking the question, who gets to decide which is the right way? I can't hear you. It was once said that I'm just a collection of mirrors reflecting what everyone else expects of me. We live our lives to please those around us. And the scary thing is that those people are doing exactly the same thing. Psychologist Rollo May calls us outward-directed people. We don't purposefully act, we react. We seek not to be outstanding, but to fit in. We are able to respond, but not to purposely choose. Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau once said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." In order to shake off conformity, we need to become inner-directed people. Ronald Reagan once said, "The character that takes command in moments of crucial choices has already been determined by thousands of other choices made earlier in seemingly unimportant moments. That character has been determined by all the little choices of years past, by all those times when the voice of conscience was at war with the voice of temptation, whispering, 'It really doesn't matter.' Your character has been determined by all the day-to-day decisions made when life seemed easy and crisis seemed far away. Decisions that piece by piece, bit by bit, developed habits of discipline or of laziness. Habits of self-sacrifice or self-indulgence. Habits of duty and honor and integrity or dishonor and shame. In order to lead a revolution, we need to become people with a purpose. People who are not easily swayed by the opinions of others. And that's difficult because from the very early age, we look to others, to their opinions of others, to orient ourselves and to validate our decisions and our reactions. That approach to life must end here and now. We need more inner-directed people. We need more strong people guided by principle and natural law, or we will fall victim to the predictions of Friedrich Nietzsche, who warned that without strong people in society, society would succumb to the weak-minded, as their sheer mass would force weak ideas and weak values on the nation as a whole. Evidence of that in history? Yes. But there is hope for the slumbering giant called America. Today, massive social and economic changes are occurring and causing people to reevaluate. Some people may not feel ready for the changes in today's society. Ready or not, change is coming. An old proverb says, if a man wants his dreams to come true, he must first wake up. Are you waking up? Some of us are ready to embrace the radical changes in our society because we believe that from the current crisis will emerge the phoenix of an independent spirit that once pioneered this country. The changes in our economy have caused many of us to start searching for something better. At Strongbrook, sharing products and services is our business, our goal. But what we are becoming in the pursuit of that goal is a larger and more important matter. The rekindling of our independent spirit has more lasting value than the size of our fortune. There is no more noble a business than a business that encourages the development of people. Every living organism has one and only one central need in life: to fulfill its own potentiality. The acorn becomes an oak, the puppy becomes a dog, and that's all that is required of the oak and the dog. But the human being's task in fulfilling his or her nature is much more difficult and important. Unlike any living creature on this planet, you and I have been given the dignity of choice. You'll not grow like a tree. You'll grow only as you plan and choose to grow. In the classic struggle between light and darkness, good and evil, how you show up, how you approach the world, your level of development as a human being is critical to victory. When a person chooses to live their lives at the highest level, two things happen. First, assuming responsibility for themselves takes on a whole new meaning. They accept responsibility not as something they've been saddled with, but as something they themselves have chosen as a sacred obligation and covenant with man and deity. The second thing that happens is that conformity from the outside is replaced by self-discipline from the inside. They accept discipline not because it's commanded, but because they themselves have chosen what they want to do with their lives. Just like when the disenfranchised men and women over 200 years ago got fed up and said, "We're not going to live like this one more day. There's another revolution coming." And it's coming not just from people in America, but from people all over the world. It's coming from people who have been oppressed in meaningless jobs, from people who have been unjustly held back, from people who have been slighted and ignored. It's coming from people who have had their hopes crushed time and time again by circumstances not of their making, from people who have been playing a game where the rules are not the same for everyone. It's coming from people whose dreams have almost died by the dripping of negative and pessimistic forces. From people who have just been waiting for the right opportunity to present itself. An opportunity they could hold on to and believe in. A place where people believed in them. I hear the rumbling of the coming revolution every day. The old rules are changing, and some people are not happy with that. Will these people try to persuade you not to rise up? Yes, they will, and sometimes with the best of intentions. But we must resist anyone and anything that attempts to influence us to relinquish our freedom. And they'll try. Believe me, they'll try. They'll try to suggest you off course, nudge you off course, scare you and distract you off course. There's another revolution coming, and it's going to be led by a group of unique and courageous people who will not be deterred from their divine destiny. People who have had it with the way things are. People who have picked out their mountain in life and have said, "I'm going to the top." And if someone tells you, "You can't climb mountains, you don't have any experience," you tell them, "I'm going to the top." And if your neighbor tells you, "Come on, choose another mountain, that one's too rocky," what are you going to tell them? And if someone tells you, "Let's go over here where it's not so steep," what are you going to tell them? And if your friend says, "Come over here, climb this one, it's not too slippery," what are you going to tell them? And if someone says, "Network marketing," what are you going to tell them? If anyone tells you you can't go up, it's too rocky, too steep, too slippery, you say, "Listen here, I'm going up, and you're either going to see me waving from the top or dead on the side, but I'm not coming back. The people in this convention are special. You're special because you have already rekindled that independent spirit. You've already said that you're not going to conform to negative pressures around you. You've already said enough. I've had it, and I'm not living like this anymore. You are people who want a country where, once again, owning your own business and controlling your own destiny is commonplace. You are people who want a country where every man, woman, and child is treated with respect and dignity. People who will pay any price so their families will not live with the legacy of maxed out credit cards and unfulfilled promises. Today we stand at the genesis of a new revolution, and people like you are going to lead it. Decades ago, Theodore Roosevelt said, "We see across the dangers of the great future. We rejoice as a giant refreshed. The great victories are yet to be won. The greatest deeds are yet to be done." I've dreamt of a company that could help us make these dreams come true. I've yearned for a company that would lead us to fulfill our true potential. Strongbrook is that company, and you are the coming revolution!